container with a filter, yeast, tablespoon, sugar, water, blended blueberries. Alright guys, shout out to Friendly Bear and all the bears for that matter. So today we're going to do some blueberry wine. It's really simple. In here I have a filter. You can use some sort of like fine mesh strainer or whatever, but this works for me. This is actually meant to be a coffee filter. And so what I've done here is I have lightly blended some blueberries, okay? Blueberries that were in a frozen package actually. But I've given them a light blend, and so the first thing that happens is this container goes into here. Okay, that's kind of our step one, okay? And I'm gonna cover that, and I'm just gonna let it get in there. Now, what I'm actually going to do, what I've found works really well, because you want to extract as much as you can out of the blueberries, is I'm going to have to add sugar and a lot more water to this and various things to get it to be wine, yeast. And so what I'm going to do is, as this drains, I'm going to add all the water up to a point that I'm going to put in as much as I can while this drains out of here. So if you can see where this goes down to in there, I can add water about halfway up, but I don't want the water coming up and getting and touching the mesh, because then it's just pointless. Like it wouldn't be going through the mesh and adding to the level in here anymore. So you need to stop adding water through this before that happens. And so I'm just going to let this drain, and then we'll come back in stages, because there's no point in just watching it all happen. Okay guys, so something that happens over time as the water passes through here is that it just gets really slow, and that's fine. It's a normal thing. So there's a trick here. You just lift this out of here, and you get it into a pot like so. Okay, and as soon as you get into a pot, that contact with a surface just begins to leach out a lot of liquid very, very quickly, and you just kind of trap it somehow so that it kind of stays like that, and then you can basically discard this and you can carry on with the other things. So let's get to that now. So there are loads of charts and all kinds of things on the internet about how to work out without a hydrometer. You can buy a hydrometer and you can just measure, and that's easy. But there are also loads of charts on the internet about how to work out how many liters or gallons or whatever it is you have versus how much sugar you add. What I'm doing here is I've got just about 19 liters. And this is 1 kilogram of brown sugar. I like using brown sugar. You use whatever you want. And this is half a bag, which makes it about half a kilogram, 500 grams. So I'm just gonna add each of these. Okay, so when I've got it about halfway full like this, I'm going to go ahead and add in 2 tablespoons of yeast. And here's a little trick. Throw this on the back of some kind of little rug.
And we stir.
Now I still have a little bit more of some really excellent juice that came out of my filter bag. The final stuff that I was able to squeeze out. And with that, get the lid on. Nice and tight. Now, I wanna say something here about what I'm doing. You can probably find a million videos on YouTube or wherever that tell you that at this point you attach your lid and you have a bubbler. Okay, I have here a lid that does not seal completely properly. Like it doesn't really. It gets a good enough seal that doesn't really allow air in. But when the pressure builds up in here from fermentation, it does allow air to push out. It'll find its way through the seams. And so with that going on, I don't really need a bubbler. And when this is relatively clear, or it's been something like 8 or 9 days, it's going to be ready to drink. And so if you're like oh, I really want to have this now, you can do it when it's been about 5 or 6 days. It is a 5-day wine, but it may not be clear like what you're used to buying at the store. If you want it to be clear like what you're used to buying at the store, you may be waiting until 8 or 9 days. And so at that point, since the air really won't go in here, but it will go out as pressure builds up in here, you can bottle it. You can bottle it and add some sugar and make it fizzy. You can do all kinds of things. You can you can have a party and you can drink it fast enough that it doesn't matter that air gets in. But know that when air gets in, that makes it aerobic, and that begins to lead alcohol down the path of becoming vinegar. And so if you drink it and air gets in here, you're developing vinegar. And so if that happens, you better get through it quickly. So that this is a starting point. From here, like just the fermentation process, there are a million places you can go. And there's so many options that it's impossible for me to make a video about what you can do. But this ferments you a nice blueberry wine. And this will be a wine. It's not a beer, this is wine. Okay? It doesn't have anything added that gets you to being able to call it beer. This is wine. So
Final stir.
And we wanna label it with the date. In about 5 or 6 days, that's wine. Thanks everybody. Base gardening.